What's his? So he's just stuck in the mud?
His wagon seems to be stuck in the mud. His wagon's not budging. This information, by the way, you're seeing this with your bird long before he knows you're coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, your interpretation is he thought he was going to have an easy time fording this river. He managed to turn one of his wheels in the mud. The whole wagon is tilted to one side, and he's just kind of sitting there contemplating his predicament for the time being.
What kind of creatures are pulling the wagon?
Oxen.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a pair of two old-looking gray oxen.
So,
here's the question, guys. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, my thought was, do we stop to help, or are we just gonna say, sorry, tough luck, buddy?
Oh, we stop to help.
A man's life does hang in the balance.
That is a good point.
A few hours isn't going to make any difference. He's been down in that well for at least 2 days.
No, I'm done with this. Conversation over. Seeker walks over.
Yeah.
Hey, you look stuck!
And you holler, and you see him startle. And he looks down the road at the five of you, and what he can only imagine, you have a very large dog walking at your side. And you just watch him as he kind of pats the pipe on his knee, hops to his feet, and kind of sheepishly comes down off the stone of the bridge, stepping down on the road. And he calls back. Yeah, just affirms he is indeed stuck. He's not sure what went wrong. The creek's not dangerous, the weather is good. He wasn't expecting the mud to be that thick.
What do you do for a living?
At this point, he picks up the pace a little bit, not wanting to have a whole conversation, yelling back and forth 100 feet down the road.
We're practicing social distancing, so...
Responsible.
Jesus, can we not, please?
We already did. He's a farmer, delivering his wares to an inn up the road. He introduces himself as Yenri. And when you guys get close enough to start having a conversation, he notices the metal badger next to the side. He startles back. My goodness. It's a suit of armor that walks.
This is Scrappy. He won't buy it.
What do you feed it?
Pleasure to meet you.
Technically magical energy, but doesn't really need eat that often.
It's times like this, I'm glad every one of you has terrible passive insight.
So we're kind of in a hurry?
Wait, Scrappy's passive insight isn't bad.
Yeah, but he's only got
you haven't felt
intelligence
that
of 4, so he's not going to pick up on the subtle nuances of social cues.
So we're kind of in a hurry, so I want to speed this up a little bit. Are you, do you have a problem with magic?
He opens his mouth and closes it a few times in a way that tells you he probably does, and he would really just appreciate you guys putting your shoulder to the wagon and helping get it lurched out of the mud. And his actual response after a moment, he just kind of squeaks out a half-hearted, no.
So here's the thing. I'm with you. The simplest way is usually best. I'd love to help you pull this wagon out of there. The problem is a man is in trouble and might be dying without our help. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over there. You're going to tell me what parts of this wagon might fall off if it happened to be lifted. And then we are going to brace them and lift this wagon out of here.
He wants to know what you mean by lifted.
I am going to levitate the wagon straight up about a foot.
Looking at the situation, you're going to have to wrench the front wheel of the wagon out of the mud to do that, or remove the wheel before you levitate it. Or loosen it so that it kind of falls off after you levitate it.
I think I can handle removing a wheel.
Okay.
Alright, so you unwinch the wheel. I'll lift the object. While he's moving the wheel, could you untie the oxen from the cart?
Oh, he has them unhitched. The oxen are on the other side of the creek, just kind of grazing for the time being.
Fantastic.
Right, so
we're going to get this done in a couple minutes.
Yeah, so you lift it out, we pull the wheel off, move it. Can you levitate it?
Yes.
You know, out of the mud bank, and then put the wheel back on, set it back down. Is that the plan? We gonna NASCAR this thing?
Is there a weight limit on levitate?
500 pounds. That's why I wanted them to remove the oxen.
Okay. You don't want to levitate the man's oxen?
No.
Okay.
So, before you levitate it, then you're going to have to at least partially unload the wagon of stuff.
I mean,
Because there's more than 500 pounds of goods when you consider the wagon and everything packed inside of it.
well, Gus can do that.
Okay.
So he's
Gus. Make a perception check.
okay. That's a really good roll.
Okay.
That is perception. That's a 19 because my perception is +0.
He's delivering harvest vegetables and foodstuffs, some dry goods, some grain, this and that. That's what's packed in the back of the wagon, and he's taking north to this inn up the road. Two things that you notice is, one, Yenri seems very particular about where these crates come out of the wagon, and he's helping you move them. Like, he's up there in the wagon, helping you to navigate their movement. But he's very particular about where they're stacked on the side of the creek, and in what order. And the other thing you realize is that each individual crate, the two of you have no difficulty moving it, but, for example, one of them is lettuce and ears of corn and things poking out of the top of it, but you're thinking this crate is way too heavy to contain just lettuce and ears of corn all the way down.
Mm-hmm. And I will, when we're done unloading the vehicle, I will walk over and very quietly tell Seeker that I think that there are other things in those crates besides vegetables.
You're not going to be able to do that without Yenri overhearing you, because as soon as you guys have unloaded a couple crates from the back, he stands very close to Seeker, watching very intently as Seeker works the magic that's going to levitate his wagon.
Okay, in that case...
Leave it a minute, you can.
If someone wants to go in there and okay, well, no, I'm sorry. If we can't have a surreptitious conversation, then Lucius would suggest I could distract him while someone goes and pokes around.
So I was already suspicious, so I have a minor plan.
What's the difference between a plan and a minor plan?
A minor plan is only useful in one exact case.
Minor plan is a cantrip. Plan is a first level spell.
Okay. So yeah,
This is a major plan.
You get a couple of the crates unloaded to bring the weight down low enough that Seeker can get it out. And during that time, Florian and Alex managed to unattach the wheel. So you don't want to take it off first because you don't want the wagon to list anymore. But it's loosened enough that when the levitation begins to happen, the wheel should just come off the axle. And nothing should be damaged afterwards.
We've changed tires before. We all change tires, right?
Yeah.
Same basic principle.
Hey, Alex.
Yeah.
I know you have your crazy magic gun. Do you carry dragon powder on you?
No, I left that back at my lab in the ship.
Okay. That's all the Seeker would have needed to know, and believe me, I am well aware of who around me is carrying dragon powder.
And yeah, after a few moments of work,
the powder's back in my lab.
the plan goes off without a hitch. You guys loosen the wheel, you get some crates stacked up outside, bringing the total weight of the wagon low enough that you can work levitate and kind of Yoda this thing up and out of the mud, move it over safely, lower it down so they can get down and wrench the wheel back into place. And the whole process only takes 7 or 8 minutes.
Alright.
And then he and Gus start loading the crates back in, and he cannot thank you enough. Every other word out of this man's mouth is gratitude. The whole time he and Gus are working to reload the crates, and he starts hitching the oxen back up. He wants to know your names. He wants to know where you're traveling from, so he can send baskets of fresh fruits and veg to your houses. He wants to send gifts to your wives, and he's just not worthy of your presence as you've helped him get to the other side of this road.
Lucius is absolutely engaging him in this conversation and introducing his companions and whatnot, and trying to be as grandiose and friendly as he possibly can during this time.
I give him a business card. And then I say, give me 1 moment, though, to end the spell so I can stop using up my source of magic. And then I'm going to cast Locate Object,
Alex is going to be checking over the rest
Who,
of the
myself or?
while this is going on as he finishes getting the wheel back.
Actually,
in
do I
place.
even want to roll that?
Okay, I didn't hear what Alex is doing.
Sorry. He is inspecting the rest of the cart and for any sort of structural damage or anything that might need more than just popping this wheel back in, like if there's anything you can mend.
Do you have proficiency in land-based vehicles?
No.
You have proficiency
I
in
do.
Tinker's tools, though, don't you?
Smith's tools, Tinker's tools,
Okay.
Carpenter's tools.
You and Gus don't have any direct experience driving a wagon, but Gus has the know-how. He knows how to do it, and you have a good idea of the engineering that would go into creating a wheel. Between the two of you, no, it's just the wagon, one wheel got bogged down in the mud. If he hadn't unhitched the oxen and had tried to force it through, he might have snapped an axle or broken the wheel and been in worse
Yeah,
shape.
I was worried anything happened while he was trying to get out of the mud.
No, the smart thing would have been to find a safer place to ford the little creek, rather than just try to barrel right next to this. There's a reason they built a bridge here, clearly.
Yeah.
While we're doing that, is there any way I can, without being seen, just whisper to Alex that he's smuggling something?
Oh yeah, you can whisper to Alex, because when Seeker is bringing the magic down, he's focusing attention on Seeker, which brings us to Seeker's deception check.
That's a 19.
19. And you cast the locate object spell for the nearest source of dragon powder.
Yep.
Provided none of you are carrying dragon powder, the spell doesn't ping at all.
All right, and I'll head over to where Gus and so on are talking, and I'll say, "It's not smuggling dragon powder."
And Yenri is focusing his attention on Lucius. Lots of handshaking. He wants to know when he sends a crate of his goods back down to Dunfoss. Who should he send it care of? Where should it arrive?
Flumph Inc. at the Flumph Inc. barge in the shallows.
Oh, right. It's here on this little piece of paper that the gnome gave me.
So,
How curious.
Seeker, should we just ask him what he's smuggling?
Look, I'm not one to get into a smuggler's business personally, unless you think
Yeah.
he could be useful to us later or is a danger to people. He
I
doesn't
think
seem
we
to be.
keep our mouths shut, and we just keep our memory on it, and we ask him if we're passing by where we can find his farmhouse. And then if we ever need a smuggler,
Right, or maybe check in the city or the inn he's going to if we're ever there and see if we, get any criminal contacts out of it.
yeah, I think that's our play.
Okay.
And with that, I mean, he gets his oxen hitched back up. He gives you the name of the inn. He's traveling a little further north than you guys are going to be. There's an inn at the base of the mountains here that he's delivering foodstuffs for. So he's got another good half-day journey ahead of him.
Where is his farm? Does he tell us that?
Nearby in one of these hexes somewhere to the south.
Okay.
Along the road somewhere?
Yeah.
Maybe on the way back we'll take you up on your
Stop
hospitality.
by.
And the day's message from the man in the well is that the gist of it is that the monsters are still nearby, that they've taken their aggressions out on the well, which has now been demolished and caved in. He's not harmed by the debris, but he cannot see the light above him anymore.
Hold fast, we're less than a day away. If you send to us again, tell us which well.
Okay?
I'm hoping there aren't multiple wells, but...
And you and Yenri part ways as you guys head off the road, now following wagon trails and such, that very quickly diminish. You're north of where the actual farmsteads are now, out into the wilderness. So once in a while you pass a small family farm, but that's about it. Those are your only connections with civilization. And Lucius,
Yes.
you managed to spot the site of the Harith family estate, and it's on a hill or a ridge that you'll have to travel up and then around the side of. It's kind of this, not a sheer cliff face, but a hill that overlooks the surrounding lands. What would have once been farmland, and there are little houses and burned out structures, long destroyed, going back 30 or 40 years since anybody lived here. A very sad and dismal place. And the hawk reports signs of monsters in the area and describes... Actually, let's get the perception check from that hawk.
All right. Is it a vision-based check?
Sure is.
All right, then that is a.
It'd be a good place to set up a parcel of land.
This close to some surrounding homesteads, this would...
Whoa! Oh man, what a way! That's a 5.
Tony, how
Wow.
can you fail us?
Tony beefs it.
Wow.
Sun gets in his eyes.
Sun got in his eyes. They're directly below it. I'm using it up so that I don't roll it later.
How does that? I don't understand. It's not McDohl or McDohl that did that.
So,
He coughed on me. I got the corona.
you ask Tony what he sees, and then Tony just turns into a brick and falls out of the air.
Tony just explodes midair. Tony got into some of that good smoke that McDohl brought.
So he reports 70 pink elephants in the vicinity.
Yeah.
That seems less than useful information. Yeah.
So yeah, you have...
Praise of me.
So you know from the messages that there are monsters around, but you don't know how many, and your scout has completely...
Blown it.
So no sightings of movement or creatures up there at the moment. Traveling up to... The actual manor house is in no state at all. It was burned down years and years ago. The structure that is still standing is the family lich yard.
He said that that the well had collapsed. Do you think maybe it's? He said it was also near to the lich yard.
He said he was planning to hide the cache here, and there were monsters there, and they chucked him down a well. In fact, with that, with that perception check roll, you can't even be sure the location of the well on the premises.
Seeker, can you locate object the stone this time?
If you give me an hour.
That's probably better just to roll on in.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we can't find them, we can do that later, after we've secured the area.
Good point.
So what's next?
March on into the lich yard like we own the place. We
Okay.
got this.
As you come up around the side of this hill, you notice encroaching upon the path in this direction is a thick copse of trees that grows up and around the site of the manor house. So the path you're taking is actually blocked as you come around on both sides by tree line. We'll go ahead and be charitable and say this is why Tony didn't get very good. He's really good at birding, but he can't see through trees.
Yeah.
Birding.
Very bad at treeing. Stop druid.
Do any of you know what a bugbear is?
We met
I'm
one.
sure Alex does.
We met one.
You did meet one.
We
that's
literally
right.
met one.
So yes.
We do know what a bugbear is.
This bugbear looks nothing like that one.
No crab, no horrendous crab
no
arm.
crab arm?
No.
No crab arm?
I thought that was a bugbear thing.
No, it isn't.
Which of you is walking first in the marching order as you come around up this path?
No, not
Probably.
Lucius.
Probably Gus.
Probably
With
Gus.
Gus with Scrappy right next to you.
Yeah, of course.
So you guys can go ahead and place yourself on the path as you come up over here.
Did we ever get a Scrappy icon?
Oh, we didn't. I didn't have time to do one this week.
That's fine. Can you make me a token?
Sure.
Get a chit and make it like silver or something.
We'll give him the green one for now.
Cool.
Tony's in timeout on my shoulder. You really blew it.
So you don't quite get far enough to see down this path. And you were walking up, and the path starts to smooth out, so you're no longer walking uphill. and you see the trees are very close and tight in the path in front of you. So back about here, so you can't see down here yet. That's when Gus, suddenly, very suddenly, out of seemingly nowhere... Well, I'll give you a fighting chance. What is your passive perception?
10.
10? Okay, so yeah, no. Seemingly out of nowhere, the ground in front of you sprouts an arrow shaft. You hear a voice call down from these trees here to move no further. If you value your lives, you'll turn around and leave now. And looking up, you see this ferocious bugbear knocking a second arrow into his longbow.
This guy sound at all like the sending voice?
No.
What was the sending voice's name?
Grut.
Gus is going to pull his shield up, and Gus is not carrying any weapons currently.
Mm-hmm.
He left them at the barge.
Wait, you didn't bring any of your weapons on your journey with you?
No, I didn't, because I can summon them from anywhere in this plane of existence.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Matt,
Too bad, though. We got swallowed up by the elemental plane of fire.
magic bullshit. That's all you had to say. Magic bullshit.
See, you should have dropped that on him. You should have waited. You should have waited to spring that on Brick Road.
Hey.
That's like the one few pleasures that we have.
What was the guy's name on the sending stone?
Grut.
Grut.
We're here for Grut.
And he pulls back the arrow.
I wouldn't fire that if I were you.
Why not?
Well,
We're here to claim what's ours.
Lucius, are you proficient with any kind of... with a longbow?
Simple weapons is what is under simple weapons?
No, it's not simple. It's martial.
No. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, then no, not longbow.
Gus is, though, right?
Yes.
Alex is as well.
So, Gus and Alex, as Lucius sasses this guy a little bit, you see a movement in his arms and musculature, and you see him move, and you can tell that his aim is now focused on Lucius, not the ground in front of you. What's next?
I guess we just holler out like we didn't come here to fight.
What's the range of this spell? Is he within 30 feet of me?
He is, but if you're going to declare casting a spell, we're going to be rolling initiative. Is that your intent?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So Gus
Let's do
is
it.
trying to talk to this guy, but instead we're going to roll initiative.
Can you drop a token or whatever for him onto the map?
I'm about to. Yeah.
Thank you.
Nodal will remember this.
Well, shit.
McDohl, did you roll bad initiative?
Hi, Razu. How are you doing?
bet you did roll worse than I did.
I didn't, in fact.
As bad as I did.
But you know what, Florian? You have a dexterity bonus. Lucius does not.
It's weird. Usually I don't have. You play Adrix for so long.
I'm going before you, Seeker. I don't care.
Wow.
Pile up on 4.
I guess.
Wow. Does 13 win? Look,
13 wins.
look at this. What is this down here?
Oh,
This is
so
a
I go
mess.
13, right.
I'm so used to the last campaign where I'm like, oh, 13's the bottom of the order, surely. Because we had like 37s. Lucius, what spell are you attempting to cast?
Suggestion.
Suggestion. What are the components of that spell?
I think it's just verbal, actually.
Okay, so you
Verbal
you
and
have to
it-
speak
yeah.
magic words.
Yeah.
All right. So he is not surprised because you have no way to cast the spell silently.
Nor am I surprised, though.
Oh, nobody's surprised. But if you I don't think there's a sorcerer meta magic that allows you to cast a spell like subtle. Is it subtle spell?
Subtle spell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you had had that, he could have been surprised.
It's
There used to be a
fine.
feat too. I don't know if there still is.
No, I didn't.
Feats go in your socks.
Oh,
It's funnier every time he says it.
Isn't it, though?
Every single time he says it.
Lucius,
Hey,
I have a 15 to hit.
that hits.
It's going to be 11 points, piercing damage, as he puts the arrow
Lucius is bloodied.
directly into you as you start to cast the spell. And he hollers out something in his terrifying bugbear voice, and you hear several more of the voices behind him in the trees take up his call. He doesn't move. He just grabs another arrow and moves to knock it. That's going to bring us to Gus.
Okay, so he's in a tree, right?
He's kind of perched just a few feet up off the ground looking at it. He's got like a little wooden platform built into the tree line here. Maybe just a 5 or 6 foot place for someone to perch and watch the path in. And there's a similar one on the other side of the trees here that's not currently occupied. And another one on the trees here that's,
Okay.
again, similarly unoccupied.
All right. Nodal, your dice are missing.
Oh no.
Just a reminder.
Yeah, I forgot.
I'm going to 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. How far away is he from here? From me?
10
Is he within
feet?
50? So he's but he's how high up is is these perches?
Only a couple feet. Just high enough off the ground to elevate them a little bit so they have just a better eye line down the road.
Okay. Can I actually like physically hit this man from here, or do I have to do I need a ranged attack?
No, you can hit him from there.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to bonus action summon my hammer and hit this man with a booming blade.
Roll it. Let me give you...
Didn't
Where's
need to come
my...
to this.
You started this!
I'm just trying to make it all calm down.
Might as well have shot at someone.
23 to hit.
I fail to see how this is my fault.
And guys, you can see kind of down the tree line a little better as you approach. I actually have to step away for 2 minutes, real quick. Would anybody like to take that time and explain to Lucius how it's his fault?
It's not my fault. And Gus over here is all like, "Rrr, go punch things. Burp, 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 burp."
He hit you with. He shot an arrow at
He
you.
shot you for 20 damage. That would have
No,
killed me
he-
instantly. No save.
That was
He-
11.
It was 11 damage, Nodal.
Oh, I'm sorry for not recognizing the number. I was a little flabbergasted.
Yeah,
I mean, to be honest, it's our fault because we didn't understand. We didn't explain that when we said use your words, we didn't mean magic words.
Brickard let Destil get away with this all the time. And when I try to do it, oh no, it's
I don't think I ever cast suggestion on someone who already had their weapon drawn.
Also, I remember him doing this to me like 6 times.
Like, I think I generally save suggestion for either we were already in a fight and I wanted to control what someone did, or when we weren't about to come to blows anyway.
I tried to cast detect thoughts through a door, and he called initiative.
well, you know.
That's okay. I have the solution. It's hit this man with a hammer.
It really isn't the solution, but
It's a
whatever
solution.
helps you sleep. It's whatever helps you sleep at night, I say.
Listen, I am a fighter. I fight things.
Okay, but you're an Eldritch Knight, so you also Eldritch things.
Right,
Yeah,
which is why I
Only
used
at
booming
night,
blade.
Not
When I-
during the day.
Which is why I used booming blade.
Yeah, Eldritch Knight Marshall Day.
Look, I could have been a real jerk ass and and instead pull him out of the tree.
He's
That would
only.
be hilarious.
I could
I
have
was-
been a contender.
I was going to try and do that with lightning lure, but Brickworth said he's only a couple feet off the ground, so I was like, that's not.
Oh, I mean it.
Also, to be fair, initiative has been called, and your turn hasn't come up yet, so feel free to change your action. That's fair enough to me.
Yeah.
Alright, I know it's actually still a little early, but I actually have to take care of something real quick, so let's go ahead and take our break right now.
Okay.
for about 15-20 minutes. We'll reconvene
Alright.
about 4:15 or 4:20 or so.
Alright. I'm gonna make food. Because I didn't eat yet today.
Me either.
All right, I believe that Gus was attacking this innocent bugbear who did nothing wrong with Booming Blade.
Right. And I rolled a 17 and 5 damage plus
17
4, so 9 damage.
does hit, so 9 points of damage.
Well, it's like 20 something, but yeah, like 9 points of damage. And he is sheathed in a booming energy.
Which
I
does
don't
what?
know. If he moves, he takes 1d8 damage.
Okay. And Gus, moving or staying put?
No, I used all my movement.
Alright.
Is it moves voluntarily or moves?
Yeah, moves voluntarily.
Okay. Never mind.
And that brings
It's
us
a
to this purple marker that is here for whatever reason, and then to Florian.
All right. I'm gonna cast Bless,
Okay.
or Fateful Naming, and I'll be casting Bless on Gustavus and Lucius and Alexander, using their true name.
But not Scrappy, even though I'm pretty sure that is his true name.
No, his
Not
true name is Darl
Scrappy. Yeah, we've been over.
but
this.
in common it's Scrappy.
Okay.
We've been over this.
Florian, moving or staying put?
I'm good here.
Brings us to Alexander.
Yeah, let's pull out the crossbow and pull the lever and fire a bolt. So that'll hit an armor class of 17.
17 does hit.
For 9 magical piercing damage.
And it is bloodied. When does that booming blade wear off? Start of your next turn? Gus?
I'm looking. Hold on.
Okay. And
Yeah, until the start of my next turn. If the target willingly moves before then, it immediately takes 1d8 thunder damage and the spell ends.
and what does
Scrappy's
Scrappy
gonna come
do?
up over here and make an attack himself.
Okay.
That hits an armor class of 20. I think it's 22.
That's good.
That's-
One thing that's very interesting about Booming Blade compared to all the other thunder spells, it does not specify like how far out it can be heard.
I think that means it's infinite.
It's just infinite. They hear it all the way back in Dunfall.
+2. D8 +2. And Scrappy's attack deals 6 force damage.
6 force damage as he rakes my innocent bugbear with his claws. And staying
Yep.
put there?
That's the end of all of my turns.
It's going to bring us to Lucius.
Lucius steps forward and says, "There's no need for all this violence. I suggest you you take us to Grug, and you put down your weapons and take us to Grug. And I need him to make a wisdom saving throw. DC is 15, please.
Are you doing violence to him?
I'm casting a suggestion on him.
Okay. Does he make this an advantage if you're currently being hostile towards him?
No.
I don't think
Does
so.
not.
Yeah, I don't believe
No,
so.
I don't see
Alright.
it I don't see it in the text.
It's going to be a 7.
Then yeah, that seems. Is that course of action seem reasonable enough to him?
To exactly did you say? He should put down his weapons and bring you to Grut?
Yes.
Okay? And you see him. I mean, he was reaching back for a club with which to beat Gus to death with, but he sets it down on the platform he's standing on, along with his longbow, and he shoulders off the quiver on his back. And Lucius, moving or staying put?
Staying put.
Seeker, you're up.
I'm just gonna step up so that I'm not completely leaving my allies behind. But
Okay.
other than that, I'm good.
That's going to bring us
I think
to...
I'm going to. I'm gonna send Tony off to go scout in the meantime.
To where?
Let's say like right over here.
And he perches on smaller hill.
Can he make an active perception to try to spot
Sure.
hostiles?
He can make an active perception check.
All right. I don't know why this is happening. Alright, whatever, I'm just gonna deal with it. That's better. That's a 14.
14. It is very easy for him to see the hostiles because there are a group of 4 more bugbears. I'll go ahead and give him the whole courtyard area here. Assuming this is where he's focusing his attention. There's a whole courtyard area, kind of littered with some intact and some partially demolished headstones, in the center of which is a almost completely destroyed stone dais, where a statue of 2 people once stood, but all that's there now are the bottom parts of their legs, having been sheared off. A couple stone structures around the area. They look like small mausoleums, and indeed, four other bugbears coming up the path.
Alright, and I'm gonna tell Lucius, there's 4 more of them. Tell your guy to make it plausible.
Do what I can.
All right, that's going to bring us to bugbears. Bugbears have a movement of... Yeah, that sounds right. And let's go ahead and fill Gus with arrows.
I mean, they could try.
Gus!
Yeah.
I have a 21.
Shield.
Okay. What does that make your AC?
Plus 5. 24.
So using your reaction to throw up the shield.
Yep.
These 4 arrows zing past you, and the first one ricochets off the shield, and the other 3 impact it.
Mm-hmm.
And none of the arrows land. Meanwhile, this guy here hops down onto the path, calls down the path. Something in... I'm assuming none of you speak Goblinoid.
No.
You don't know what he's saying to his other companions, but the responses to him are shouts. Nobody's got a good passive insight here, so...
12 is good.
Is it?
Yeah.
Who has a 12?
I have a 12.
You have a 12.
Florian has a 12.
I'm trained in insight.
What would be your passive insight at disadvantage, because you don't understand the language?
Oh, atrocious.
Yeah.
That would be a 7.
Burger just wants to keep our insights down.
No, I mean, that's
Fine.
fair enough. I don't speak the language.
That's fair, yeah.
Player's Handbook tells you what happens when your passive skill, if you have disadvantage, it's a flat -5. That's not a house rule.
No, I'm fine
That's
with
how
that.
it works.
That's
Trying-
not fair to me.
I'm not...
Trying to perceive an interaction between creatures speaking a language you don't understand. That is an appropriate application of disadvantage. But what you know is he's stepping down and he's saying something down the path in this language, and the responses to him are shouts. And he's leaving Scrappy's start range. Nothing happens?
No, Scrappy is fine.
And he moves up the path, continuing to... And he's still very, very badly bloodied at this point. Does he ever repeat this saving throw?
No, but as soon as he finishes the action, it ends.
Yep.
So yeah, you see him hop down. He's left his weapons behind, including a large spiked mace and his longbow and his quiver of arrows, still sitting here on the little wooden platform built in the side. He's hopped down and walked down the path, And as he gets down here, you see his stride is slowing. And after a moment, he's looking back and forth between down the path where Lucius is and his companions. And he looks very confused, bewildered. That's going to bring us to Gustavus.
Okay. I'm going to 5, 10, 15, 20. Which one of these is the bloodied one?
This one here.
Okay.
So his back is to you, but he's kind of looking back and forth between his the other bugbears and Lucius down the path.
If you birdie this, I'm gonna be so mad at you.
Define birdieing this. Define it to me so I know what I shouldn't do.
Ruining everything.
Again, pretty sure this is Lucius's fault. He started it.
Don't
Anyway.
cast suggestion on any bugbears.
Yeah.
Apparently.
I'm going to drop my hammer.
Okay.
Bonus action, summon my spear.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw it at this man.
Okay.
Nice.
That is a 18 to hit.
18 does hit.
Okay. That is a d6. That is 10 damage piercing.
And are you moving or staying put?
Let's see. We're just gonna... Yeah, no, I'm good here.
You hear from deeper in the back beyond the trees, on the other, perhaps on the other side of this courtyard you're looking in at, a call that something very large and very grunt-like calling forward in the same language that these creatures are conversing in. And it sounds angry, and you don't know how you can tell with your terrible passive insights, but it also sounds very hungry. That's going to bring us to Florian.
Neat. 10, 20,
Oh,
25. And I got a magic missile I'm gonna cast at level 2 for 1, 2, 3, 4. Each
I'll
gonna
give
get
you...
one. Ooh.
I'll give you these two, and this one if you want him. But these two you're not going to be able to see from your position.
Okay, well,
Because you got trees in the way.
alright. 2 and 2 then.
2 and 2?
Yeah.
And how much damage?
I shall tell you. Ooh. 10 and 9. Wow. Good for me.
10
Who are you, and what have you done with McDohl?
and 9. And
There we go.
moving back,
Yep.
as you snake some magic missiles in between the trees, and they impact several of the bugbears, that's going to bring us to Alexander.
All right, let's move to here. And Brick, I'm afraid I'm going to need all of these bugbears
Yeah.
to make me a dexterity saving throw.
I'm sorry, I can't. I've only got 4 d20s, and there's 5 bugbears, so you're going to have to pick something else.
Yeah, he's just gonna have to fail that one then.
Dex save?
Yep, looking for 15.
That counts as a 0.
I have 3 passes and 2 failures. I'll let you pick which is which.
Well, let's go ahead and have these two fail. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
So Alex levels his crossbow, pulls a secondary trigger after pouring a thing into the canister on the side, and a burst of fairy fire streaks out of it and then explodes. So those two are glowing purple.
These 2 back here?
Yep, the two on the southernmost.
All right, let me mark those 2 here.
Love a good fairy fire.
Yep.
FF, FF. And then you
Then
send
let's go
Scrappy
ahead.
in.
Yep, and Scrappy's going to attack this fairy fired one.
Okay.
So that'll hit an armor class of 20
20 does hit.
for 6 force damage.
I'm convinced Fairy Fire is the best low-level spell
It's
available.
very good. That's the end of my turn.
Scrappy mauls the bugbear there. He is now bloodied. That's going to bring us to Lucius.
Lucius is going to 1, 5 and 6 goes to he gets into here. I'm gonna need this guy.
Which one? Tab in, please. That one there? Okay.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah. I'm gonna need him to make a saving throw. Wisdom saving throw DC 15.
8.
Then please to be enjoying 2 psychic damage,
Okay.
and he has disadvantage until his next turn. So Lucius takes a book out of a holster at his side, flips through a few pages, and then speaks something in Infernal. Then he says, "Your better-looking friend than you is the smart one in this group."
Referring to Gus.
No, I was referring to this one right here.
Okay.
This guy right here.
Better looking
That
and
was-
smarter.
That was vicious mockery, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Is he better looking because half of his head is caved in after Gus attacked him?
Sick burn.
I'll leave that up to I don't know.
That's an
An
exercise.
exercise for the
for
reader.
History to judge.
Lucius, moving or staying put?
Staying put.
It's going to bring us to Seeker.
All right. Seeker is going to step forward 4 steps and come out with the classic Seeker special of sleep,
Okay.
targeting all 5.
Okay.
That is 19 hit points worth.
Okay. This one falls asleep. The one he's bloodied. This one who's also bloodied falls asleep. And that's your lot.
All right, good for me.
Moving or staying put?
I have 1 more point of movement. I'm going to duck behind these trees.
Okay. Gus.
Mm-hmm.
You threw your spear. You only have the 1 spear, correct?
Yes, but I can summon it anywhere.
Right, but they saw you just throw the 1 spear.
Right, I don't have any weapons currently in my hand.
Whereas Lucius, you're casting terrible magic, right?
Yeah.
Terrible and eldritch.
If it's Warlock magic, it's by definition terrible.
Let's do 1 at Gus and 1 at Lucius. Lucius!
Hey,
I have an 11 to hit.
that surprisingly does not hit.
Gus, I have an 11 to hit.
Nah.
As these 2 loose arrows at you. This one kicks his companion awake. Excuse me.
Wait. He's
Yeah,
prone,
he's,
isn't he?
he's prone, so just let him fall over.
Nice.
He's
Nailed
fine.
it. Love it.
Leave him alone.
Perfect.
sorry.
So he's prone and fairy fired, but he's not asleep anymore.
He's not asleep anymore. And that's going to bring us to Gus.
Okay. I'm going to scoop up my hammer. And I'm going to hit this man.
Which one?
The one that's prone on the ground and asleep.
Okay.
Wait, you're hitting the guy that I have suggested? Okay.
He's
No,
He's not
suggestion
suggesting
The
was
guy
over.
suggested is this one.
No, this one's suggested, but he's also asleep. But
I thought the
kick the shit out
suggestion
of
was over.
suggestion was over. He did the thing that Lucius suggested. He threw down his weapons. He started bringing you to his commander to the best of his ability, and when that ended, the spell ends.
All right, well, that's an 18 to hit.
18 does hit.
It's an auto crit.
Automatic
Yeah.
crit, because he's unconscious.
Okay, I won't fight that now, but okay.
That is a total of 8 damage.
And he's dead.
So I'm going to step forward
Okay.
and menace these 2 gentlemen with my hammer.
And as you
Yeah.
step forward, you see they begin dropping their bows and reaching back and taking out these spiked maces. That's going to bring us to the sounds deeper in the woods. You still hear shouting from that direction, the big grunt-like sound. And then you start hearing stomps as well, coming from deep within the trees over here. And that's going to bring us to Florian.
One, two, three. Another magic missile.
Okay,
Level 1.
very good.
All right, so that is 5 damage, 3 damage, 2 damage.
2 damage to the bottom one there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that top one is bloodied at this point as you loose some more magic missiles into the fray.
Love me some magic missile. I don't have to roll to hit.
Okay, and you're staying put there?
Yes, sir.
It's going to bring us to Alexander.
All right. Let's move in a bit. Put myself between the bugbears and my squishier companions. And we're going to take a shot at this one, who is currently fairy fired, and I am currently blessed.
You probably
His
got
day's
it.
about to get-
Oh, I
His
forgot
day's
about
about to
this.
get real bad. They're both a 27.
All right, that definitely hits.
Plus 5. They'll deal 9 magical piercing damage.
Okay.
Then we'll have Scrappy come on in and follow up, still fairy fired. That'll hit a crit.
Okay.
Love it. He's dead.
15 force damage.
And he's bloodied.
Oh
That's it,
no!
my turns.
So Scrappy mauls this guy, rakes down his chest, and it just shreds the front of his hide armor. And the blood begins seeping through it. And he's almost falls forward onto his knee, but catches himself at just the last second. That's going to bring us to Lucius.
Hello. Move there. No, I'm not gonna move there. And yeah, I'm gonna fire an Eldritch Blast at this guy.
Sure enough. He is currently bloodied.
He's about to be more bloodied. That's a 23 to hit. No, 20. Yeah, no, 23 to hit.
23 does hit.
Fuck. That's 6
Excuse me. 6 points.
force damage.
All
6
right.
points force damage.
Does your Eldritch Blast do anything silly yet, or is it just damage right now?
It's got stank on it because of charisma bonus, but that's it.
All right. Doesn't push people around yet.
Not yet.
Moving or staying put?
I'm gonna go ahead and scoot back toward the tree line. That's
It's going to bring us to Seeker,
All right.
the coward in the back of the group.
That's right.
Yeah.
Where did those grunt-like noises coming from?
Way back here. And you are now, the growling noises and shouts in the incomprehensible language are now also accompanied by stomps that are coming in your direction.
All right. I'm gonna go over here.
Mhm.
Coward in this direction now,
Yeah.
and I'm going to target down here.
Okay. This is a tree line here, but you can also see like a dirt incline off to your left. So you're kind of shooting up into a hill where there are lots of trees.
Okay. My goal is to get it like behind trees
Okay.
if I can.
Sure.
And I'm just going to shout out in common using the charmed man's voice that we heard earlier. Grunt, help! Grunt, help!
So using whose voice?
The guy that was previously
The one we just murdered.
Okay,
the one we talked to that we murdered. Yeah.
gotcha. And that, those of you up here in the melee, I mean, the few live bugbears look around confused for the moment. But that's not going to cause them to stop attempting to murder you. Seeker, you staying put there?
I used up all my movement.
Okay, this one's going to step around and kick this guy awake. Oh, he's already awake. Never mind.
Yeah, he's just on the ground.
So he can stand up and step forward. And this one can stand up and step forward. And I can multi-attack the absolute crap out of Mr. Gus.
You can try.
First one's getting a deflect attack from Scrappy, so do that at disadvantage.
Okay. It's just for the next attack, correct?
Yes, it's a reaction to a attack.
Got it. Okay, so the first attack at disadvantage against Gus, that's going to be an 11.
No.
The second attack, not at disadvantage, is going to be an 18.
No.
No. What's your armor class?
19.
At level 3?
Yeah.
Okay, so all my monsters are going to get a +4 to hit on top of what they already have now.
That's fine. He can cast shield.
All right.
There's a +5.
Next guy, I have a 7
I don't think so.
and a 19. Yep, and a 19.
Yeah, well, a 19 hits.
19 hits.
Has to pause for a second. You sure?
I'll double check that. For 13 points of bashing damage.
Ow!
Third guy, first attack. A 14,
No.
and then a 9.
No.
And last guy, first attack is a 16
No.
and a 4.
No.
And Gus, you are just there with your hammer. Do you carry a shield?
Yes.
So you got your hammer and your shield. You're just parrying blows as they're raining down on you with these spiked clubs. And one of them manages to get past your defenses, and the strength and force behind this blow is greater than what you would expect this creature is capable of.
So, yeah, I am just shy of bloodied with a single shot.
Your turn, Haas.
All right.
That happened to Lucius too.
Yep.